Good evening, good afternoon, everybody, wherever you're tuning in from. It's Rod with Power Group. Welcome back on The Pursuit of Wealth. It's Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, August 10th. Going to get started with today's live stream here momentarily. We'll give it another 30 seconds or so for people to jump on. If you are jumping on and joining the stream, let us know where you're tuning in from in the live chat, and we'll get started here shortly. I see we have some people joining us. Welcome, welcome. If you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from in the live chat. It's Rod with Power Group. Going to get started with today's live stream. Today is Wednesday, August 10th. Hope you had a great day today. I was actually feeling a little under the weather, so feeling a little bit better now, but we'll come on, do a quick video. Volatility is back in the MJ space, and we'll take a look at some charts. We're going to dedicate this video. If anybody does have any questions as well, we'll do a quick Q&A at the end, and any ticker requests. I do have a hard stop here in about 30 minutes, so we'll go through the MJ sector review. I'll go over my thoughts and opinions on what to expect in the days and weeks ahead. We'll do some charting, some technical analysis, and my opinions on the market and the sector. All right, before we get started, make sure to smash the like, help support me in the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. If you're new, you can subscribe and tick the bell, and you'll be notified on any future videos. We had Trulieve earnings today, and they actually missed in terms of their EPS forecast or earnings per share. It came in at negative 0.01, and the forecast was negative 0.0072. Revenue was forecasted at 322.11 million, and it came in at 320.3. So missed slightly on both of those fronts. Stock was down a bit here today, but overall, you can see MSOS, the ETF, was up about 1.3% today. But if we just go down to Trulieve, we were down almost 3.5%. But GRWG, FLGC, and MMEN were leading the bull list today. And then in terms of Canadian MJ, CGC had another phenomenal day today. Volatility back in a big way, up almost 15% at the end of the day, and Oxley and ACB followed suit. And we hit 420 today on SPY, so found that pretty funny. We'll see as soon as MJ volatility is starting to return. We're hitting 420 on the S&P 500, and it looks like we could be due for a bit more upside as well. We know that we're targeting the daily bull flag of 427, and then it lines up with our previous resistance there at 427.81. I mentioned yesterday to private Power Group members that I expected inflation numbers to start to cool down, and that's exactly what we got. And the market responded quite bullishly to that. And like I said, I knew that we're likely going to see another move up. We are due for a pretty big pullback, though. If we take a look at the weekly time frame on the S&P 500, we haven't consolidated since back here on the second week of July. So we're now going on week 5, and we'll see. We're likely going to see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross as well, and we have a lack of resistance on the weekly all the way up here now until 460.08. And even Elon Musk saying that he believes that inflation is starting to, the kind of the worst is over, and that's going to be a mild recession. But obviously, we're in a recession, regardless of what the talking heads want to tell you on mainstream media. 2 quarters of back-to-back negative GDP growth, that's a recession, right? So doesn't matter how you spin it. But we'll jump into some charting here. I know we have quite a few people joining the stream, so once again, welcome. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And we're going to save this video primarily for charting and ticker requests and going over my thoughts and opinions on the charts. But taking a look at MSOS, what I'm looking for is the monthly bounce to get underway. And the most important chart right now for me is the weekly trend change here. So we're looking for the higher low here at the moment. So we have the low here, the all-time low at 10.08. We have the high of the bounce at 12.99. We're scouting a higher low. What do we know that we need to do in order to confirm an uptrend? We need a higher low followed by a higher high. In a downtrend, you have a lower high and a lower low. So in this instance, we're forming the higher low now. If we hold support there at 10.08, so if that level holds, that is the important level, and then we form this higher low, and then we break this resistance here at 12.99. That's going to give us that higher low and higher high, at which point we would zoom out to the monthly time frame, and we would be breaking the high of the previous monthly candle, and the monthly bounce would be underway. And that would be the first time since back in November of 2021, and resistance is all the way up at $33.70. We do have EMA 12 established there at 19.08, so I could easily see a 100% move here. If we do start the monthly bounce on MSOS, we know we have Germany and New York set to go operational and go live in recreational, and that could spark some major momentum leading into the midterms as well as safe banking. We could see descheduling, and we know that there's multiple bills right now passing through Congress. So all of this could really line up well for a perfect storm leading into the fall. And like I said, the broader market is starting to convince people that this may be more than just a suckers rally and a relief rally and a dead cat bounce, right? So it's looking good. And the S&P 500 starting its monthly bounce, so that gives us confidence. The more names, the more sectors, the more the more tickers in any given sector that start their monthly bounce, the better it is, right? So the more confident we can be in a more macro level reversal on the charts. But if you're asking me what I need to see to be confident that the bottom is in and that the bear market's over and we're entering a new bull market, we need to confirm first and foremost these weekly uptrends, which we're on the verge of doing. If we break 12.99, that confirms the weekly uptrend. Then the last bit of work that we have to do is start the monthly bounce and then form a monthly high, higher low, and higher high. Once we confirm the monthly uptrend, then I'll have the utmost confidence in saying that we are now entering a new potential multi-year bull market. Doesn't mean we're not going to have 40, 50% corrections in a bull market, because we will, but it just means that the worst is likely over. And I think the next time we enter a new bull market, a lot of our MJ names are going to hit new all-time highs in price discovery. So smash a like if you're excited about that, and if you agree. Taking a look at the bear list, we had TAUG, CXXI, and KHRN, followed by Trulieve after reporting its earnings miss. But pretty much all American MJ is going to be in the same boat, right? If we take a look at MSOS, that pretty much tells us the story for everybody. So if we take a look at Trulieve, again, we're looking for the monthly bounce to get underway. We haven't bounced since February of 2022 on Trulieve, but it was a very, very, very small bounce at that. But realistically, most MJ hasn't bounced since November of last year. But no resistance on Trulieve really on the monthly time frame on the price action until $43. EMA 12 is sitting there at 23.69. So even if we start the monthly bounce, you could look to play this. So if you're wondering when's a good time to get into MJ, and again, this isn't financial advice, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not telling you to buy, sell, or hold. I'm just giving you some ideas on what you could potentially look to do. So if we break the high of the previous monthly candle, that's going to be the first time in almost a year, really. How many months is it? We'll get the exact months. So since back here was the real monthly bounce, so it's now been 9 months. So what you could say is, I'm going to be looking, and let's say you're looking at an entry in Trulieve. If we break 17.95 on Trulieve, that's going to confirm the monthly resistance break, and the monthly bounce will be underway. So if you just enter, say you set a stop buy for 18.01 or 18.05, you just allow a little bit of wiggle room. So if the price gets to a certain price, your buy is going to trigger, right? It's kind of like a limit order, but it's a stop buy instead of a stop loss. Instead of getting stopped out of your position if it goes below a certain price, you want to sell. Well, a stop buy is essentially if it goes at or higher of a certain price, at that price or higher, you'll actually buy. So that's one way you could look to play it as well. And like I said, if we see that monthly bounce just to EMA 12, you're looking at about a 30% return in likely a matter of weeks, in my opinion. If we go to EMA 26, that's about a 50% return. And if we go all the way up to $43 on the price action, that's about 144% move that you could benefit from just by entering off of the monthly bounce beginning, right? If you're a little bit more conservative, maybe you're waiting for that monthly bounce to get underway. But we'll take a look at a couple other heavy hitters in the American space. So Cureleaf, starting to make strides. So I'm very, very bullish on Cureleaf long term. One of my favorite MSOs, and probably my biggest MSO holding. My biggest MJ position in America, in south of the border, is I'm pretty sure it's Cureleaf after MSOS, but MSOS, the ETF, is my biggest holding in terms of American MJ. And that's just because I'm not 100% sure who we just don't know yet, right? They don't even have nationwide distribution in, Trulieve just got entry into Arizona, and a lot of different states aren't allowing any more licenses. So they have to kind of go through this M&A, right? They have to acquire companies with those licenses, and that's what Trulieve just did. And we just don't know who the winners and losers are going to be in the U.S. yet. We have a pretty good idea, but I'm extremely bullish. I like Trulieve, but personally I don't own any Trulieve. I own it indirectly through MSOS, the ETF, but I do own Cura and CL. Those are my biggest positions in terms of the MSOs. But let me know in the comments what your biggest position is in terms of MSOs. Always love getting a vibe, getting the consensus from the community as well. And if you haven't checked out the community tab on the Pow Group YouTube channel, you can check that out. I do a number of different polls from time to time, and a lot of good insight into to what people are what people are interested in, what they're holding, what their plan is. If we take a look at Canadian MJ, CGC, Oxley, and ACB led the bull list, like I mentioned, and PWR, WIB, and Huge led the decline today. If we take a look at HMMJ, HMMJ is actually starting its monthly bounce. So this is even better. Not only do we have SPY at 420, we're starting the monthly bounce on HMMJ. We had resistance at 766 and we hit 771. So now we need follow through. We're starting that monthly bounce. And this is another example. You could potentially enter on another break, and that's why we could set a stop buy, right? So if you set your stop buy for 776, that'd be about a 20 cent bounce. And then today we hit 771 and then started to pull back. So let's say you set a stop buy at 786 or something like that. Maybe, you could even do $8. So if we did it from $8 or roughly $8, you're looking at about a 35% move to EMA 12 and then about an 80% move to EMA 26. And then up to our price action resistance, you're looking at about 122%. And again, hasn't really bounced since November of 2021. And you can see how similar all of these charts are. So that's why, in order to make it life easier for all of us, all you need to do really is just chart HMMJ and MSOS. If you chart those two, pretty much any individual name that you're looking at or invested in or whatever stock you're holding as an MJ stock, it's just going to be basically the same as looking at MSOS and HMMJ because of how correlated the sector is and how bearish it is, and everything's in the dumps, right? But if we take a look at MSOS, I'm looking for a weekly candle close this week over 1172. We already had a bull cross on the MACD and on the stochastic on the weekly time frame, which is looking good in terms of the macros. Now we need to close over that 10-week moving average there at 1172, and then all about 1299 resistance to confirm that weekly uptrend and start the monthly bounce. Taking a look at the weekly moving average, we have the only one nearby is the 50 weekly, and the 100 is up at 2934. The 50 is at 2115. So I could easily see a move back up in a hurry to $20 if we get any kind of news with regards to safe banking breaking, progress on that, or even descheduling from Schedule 1. But like I said, it's looking good. We don't have the 200 weekly defined yet because there's just not enough history. And then on the daily time frame, we're still rejecting at the 50-day moving average, and that's sitting at 1195. So what I want to see is a daily and weekly candle close over 1195 this week, and then we'll be looking at 1299 resistance into next week. If we break 1299, we could see a ton of upside on MSOS, and that would likely result in a lot more upside for HMMJ, because I do think that the next time US MJ reverses, we're going to see Canadian MJ reverse as well, and then we'll see, with different runners, different laggards. We'll have a few runners, they'll cool off, take profits. Profits will roll into names that are laggards that haven't run yet. And I think we'll just see a lot of names take turns. But CGC starting its monthly bounce. So again, the more names and the leaders in the space is what we're looking at, right? When we're this beaten down 80 to 90% on average, we want to look at Tilray, CGC, the leaders in the space, True Leaves of the world. And we want to see what they're doing because they're the movers in the space, right? That's where the institutional funds play. So Tilray is breaking its high of 416 of the previous month. So it's also starting its monthly bounce. So again, this is looking very encouraging and reassuring that we could see this happen on all of our MJ stocks, in my opinion. Hexo needs to break 25 cents USD to start its monthly bounce. ACB, very close. What is it? A double top? 172, 173. So pretty much a double top so far. So we want to break 173 on ACB. Cron, so it's on month 2, actually, of its monthly bounce. So again, the more names that are doing this, the better it is, right? High Tide. So retailers seem to be lagging quite a bit here. Not even close. High Tide has to jump another 60% to start its monthly bounce. But that means that we could, if this thing starts to catch up to the rest of the sector as well, this could be a nice laggard play, right? That's what I meant by runners and laggards. If everybody's starting their monthly bounces, well, might not be a bad idea to start taking High Tide here with, next to support at the 52-week low with about a 63% move of upside just to start the monthly bounce. So if all names are starting their monthly bounce, let's take a look at Fire and Flower as well. So yeah, there you go. Fire and Flower is starting its monthly bounce. So that increases the odds that we could see that, maybe not this month on High Tide, but there is 20 days left. Anything can happen, and news can change in a hurry, right? The next time we have any kind of positive news, there's going to be a massive, massive short squeeze, in my opinion, given how beaten down we are in the sector. VFF just reporting earnings as well. It is a monthly bear flag here by the looks of it, though. Yep, still a monthly bear flag. I actually had it drawn out there already. But one of our names that is also bouncing on the monthly time frame here as well on month 2 of its monthly bounce. Again, monthly bounce just means we're breaking the high of the previous candle, and then consolidation just means we're losing the low of the previous candle, right, on any time frame. All right, jumping into the chat here, we have quite a few people with us. A couple dozen people, it looks like. Welcome, welcome. Ready to hear what's going on? You bet. Colombia, nice. Welcome, welcome. Amsterdam, nice. Team Tilray, Afria, Hexo, Redican. Yeah, you can also add 48 North, Cannabis, Molson Coors, and potentially MedMen. Still from Texas. Welcome, welcome. Hey, welcome to the stream. By the way, this week textbook perfect bounce on Red Light Holland at 12.5 cents. Back at highs. RSI too high to hold. Future move, but bullish wedge forming. Big move coming before sell off, in my opinion. Very nice. Nice analysis. Thanks for sharing. Hexo has been doing these little bounces, not sure what to call it, and it's making me excited, almost as if something is happening behind the scenes. Well, like I said, everything SPY's at 420, right? So that's what we needed. No, I'm just kidding. Everything's starting their monthly bounces, right? We're starting to see volatility pick up in the sector, not just in in any particular geographic area like Canada's going. We're seeing a lot more volatility in the names on the NASDAQ and the NYSE, but that has to do with liquidity and dollar volume, sheer dollar volume. And that's where the institutional money plays around. Once we have uplisting from the MSOs to NASDAQ and NYSE, then that money will start to trickle into that, right? But there's just no comparison. Tilray's got $2.5 billion traded almost in one day. And Truly, for comparison, only had like 12.5 million. So it's not even in the same ballpark, right? It's almost not even in the same... you're not even in the same state at that point. So it's obviously, when the sector's beaten down, we want to look at the LPs, the tier 1 LPs on the NASDAQ and the NYSE too. In my opinion, we want to be looking at volume. Take a look at CGC's volume here on the monthly time frame. We still got 20 days left, and we're already matching the volume from last month, pretty much. Half of it. So we'll see. Let's take a look at Tilray. Tilray, yeah, we're right at about half of last month's volume. But the highest volume was back here, and the record to beat is 1.264 billion shares. So if we get over 1.264 billion shares traded this month, I highly doubt it. Again, anything can change in a hurry, right? If we get any kind of safe banking progress, we know that they want to get something done here before the August recess, so before the end of the month. So we'll see. Reassuring that the broader market is starting to really show some signs of strength as well. Sin City. Welcome from Sin City. I was actually there for MJ BizCon there in last year, and it was fantastic. I was actually in Vegas as well for my birthday, and earlier this year, I forgot about that. But yeah, there for a good time, not a long time. But yeah, if you're wondering about Hexo, the daily time frame, we're in a daily uptrend here with the low, high, higher low, and higher high. Now we're scouting another higher low compared to 19.5 cents. So it's looking good. And then you could even say we confirmed a weekly uptrend as well if we just expand that out. Low, high, higher low, and higher high. Now we'll zoom out to the monthly, get that monthly bounce underway, change that monthly trend just like all of our names. And most importantly, just be watching HMMJ. Once HMMJ confirms monthly uptrends, then this is an ETF that tracks, hundreds of different MJ stocks, right? I'm pretty sure close to 100. MSOS has a ton of different American, and it's all American. So great way to get exposure if you're not sure how to disperse your allocation, your fund allocation, right? And your portfolio allocation. Let's go Pow Group, you bet. It's powwow. Powwow. Going to have to try to stop buy, not one for stop losses, only sell when fundamentals ever turn down, not share price. Yeah, so Stop loss right now, I think is, we're nearing a bottom. So right now, if we were at all-time highs or 52-week highs, then I would say stop losses would be a must, right, to protect profit and preservation of capital. But when we're down 98% on some of our names, Tilray down 95%, pretty much the average is down 80 to 90% across the board, Canadian and American MJ. It's probably best to just time in the market is better than trying to time the market, right? So that's why I like the dollar cost averaging. When we're down, just like when crypto was down 80, 90% back in 2019, I would much rather just buy and hold, and time in the market was better than trying to time the market, right? Trying to time the breakout. You're better off just buying near the bottom when we're down 90 to 98% on a lot of our names. Better off just buying near the bottom. Don't have to time the exact bottom, because when we actually start to shoot up and enter a new bull market, the prices are going to look, you're not going to even believe that you even have that opportunity, right? That prices even got that low. But just like things get extended to the upside, they get extended to the downside, actually even more so than on the downside, right? Because it's usually more drawn out. That's how the market makers shake everybody out, is they get everybody impatient. They tire them out. They bleed them out, just like MJ for the last, 18, 19 months now. We've been in a brutal bear market for almost 2 years, right? So that's a casing point. I'm so prepared when Hexo does take off. I have everything mapped out, but also have an open mind just in case anything happens. Exactly, and that's called realistic expectations, right? Not wanting to, being a moon boy or girl, right? You're not thinking instant gratification, right? You have a realistic expectations. If it happens sooner than what we expect, great. But we know that there's a lot of work to do, right? We still have to confirm weekly uptrends on a lot of our names. It's easy to get excited, and FOMO and things like that also play a factor. But at the end of the day, we know we still aren't out of the woods yet, and we need to confirm weekly and monthly uptrends. A lot of our names are confirming weekly uptrends, but we need the whole sector in weekly uptrends, and then we need monthly uptrends. And what's it going to take for monthly uptrends? It's going to take a few months, right? It's going to take at least 3 or 4 months for us to get that high, because we haven't even started our bounce yet. So it's going to take 1 or 2 months to get the high, maybe 3 months. We come back up over the course of the next 2-3 months, test EMA 12, then we come down, form a higher low. That's what I would be expecting. And that's going to take a few different candles, meaning that's going to take a few months, because each of these candles on the monthly represent 1 month of trading, right? So it's going to be a while here. It's going to be at least a few months. So I would say, it's August. So September, October, November, I would say into November elections or shortly thereafter, we're going to see a pretty incredible move. Sometime within the next 3 to 4 months, in my opinion, leading into those elections. About to put additional money in Hexo. If it does go down from 22 cents to at least 20 cents. Yeah, you bet. And you can always set a limit order, right? A limit buy, so that it just executes the trade if you're not even paying attention. So if you end up getting, a phone call or emergency or something like that, your kids or your better half needs you for something like that, and you end up missing it, you can just set a stop buy, right? Or sorry, a limit buy. Why don't you own any Verano? I like Verano. I don't own any. Actually, my dad does in his long-term portfolio. We bought him some Verano, but I own it through MSOS, the ETF. I put quite a bit of money into the ETF MSOS, and that's one of the holdings in there. So I indirectly have exposure to it, but that's one on my list. I may look to add that one as well. We'll see. But to be honest, I'm pretty confident in my MJ portfolio at the moment. And I've got about 13 or might be 14 different MJ positions now. But I like them for the long term. Great company. Hexo bags are secured. It's going to explode. Yeah, I've got all my bags pretty much secured. I actually entered CGC in my shorter term trading account. I have it on a long term no touch. But I just entered in a short-term trade here, and I'm going to be swinging it. But yeah, I'm up like almost 32%, I think, on that one now. So that's one of my few that are in the green. CWeb, I'm up about 25%, almost 30% on that one. And that was the first I added CWeb, and I'm really bullish on CWeb as well. OGI is another one I'm green on. But yeah, Hexo, I'm definitely still down. I think my average is around 120. I'd like to get it down to about $1 Canadian. Average at 45. Nice. That's a sweet average. Jealous. British Columbia. Welcome, Canada. Welcome. Please explain what happened to GNLN. What's that one? Green Lane? So we're breaking to a monthly. Oh, there's a split. It was a reverse split, 1 for 20. That's what's going on. So the price just got increased by 20, right? So that split occurred today. So if we take the price yesterday at close, it closed at 316. So you would just do 316 divided by 20. The price yesterday would have been 15 cents, right? So if you woke up today thinking you were a millionaire or rich, yeah, no, that was that's common with reverse splits, especially in the MJ space, right? We know that there's a ton of volatility, and in my opinion, that's why they created reverse splits. Was that, oh, you know, it's just another way to manipulate the market, right? The market makers say, oh, well, we can't have these be delisting, right? That's where we play. That's where our institutional money plays. So then they invent this concept called a reverse split. And then just in order to regain compliance on the NASDAQ or the NYSE, this is on the NASDAQ. So that's very obvious why they did that, right? And then, they just do that and then like, oh, problem solved, right? But it doesn't change anything. It increases the price and decreases the amount of shares. A regular stock split decreases the price and increases the shares. So there's more pie and more pieces of the pie to go around, right? So that's why the price ends up getting lower, because the share count goes up. And then here, with a reverse split, like in this example, share price goes up and amount of shares go down. But nothing changed in terms of the enterprise value. So that's what happened there. And that's what a reverse stock split means. So nothing changes. It's just the price goes up, shares diminish. So whatever the dollar value in your investment doesn't change, right? So if you invested $1,000 yesterday, it would still be worth about $1,000 today. Nothing changes because the shares go down and price go up, right? So it just, the market cap stays the same. It's just a tactic for market manipulation. Just like JP Morgan's been manipulating gold and silver markets, got fined $1 billion for manipulating it and spoofing it, literally. It's proven. They were fined $1 billion almost. And you don't think they're, manipulating MJ? Of course they are. If they're manipulating precious metals, they're going to manipulate an industry like MJ that's still illegal on a lot of different fronts, right? They're even making it so some clients can't trade MJ stocks, but yet they're buying it, right? So it's just a way for them to game the system. It's sickening, and they really should be behind bars, to be honest with you. High tide, appealing entry for sure. Yep. I feel CFC is moving up more aggressive due to more beaten down than Tilray. Thoughts? Oh, CGC? Yeah, exactly. Well, they're both down quite a bit, right? Like if we take a look at CGC from the high of February 2021, just rough ballpark, it's down 96%. From the high to the low, and then I think Tilray was 95. Yeah, 95. So they're both beaten down quite a bit, and everything's just kind of running simultaneously together, right? We got double-digit gains, CGC 14, ACB 10, right? And this is generally what happens when volatility picks up. We run like 20 or 30% in a day, we drop 10% the next day, and then the next day we're up again 14%. So that's great volatility. It's good to see. Starts to show interest back in the sectors, right? And look at that volume as well. But yeah, look at the volatility. We were up 20% a couple days ago. Then we were down 11%, and then from the low of the day today, we're up another 17%. So this is, and then before that, we crashed 18%. Right before that, we bounced 22%. And then from the low to the high there, we bounced 47% in a matter of 5 days, right? A week. So now we could still see EMA 12 and 26 bull cross on CGC. And we're filling the gap here, and we don't have any resistance nearby until 386 on the price action. So we could see that bull cross of those EMAs, and then nowhere near RSI daily overbought either. So we could see a lot more upside, I think, especially if the broader market holds up and we get any kind of favorable legalization updates and progress. Sold 100K shares of Hexo, still have 105K shares with that sell. I bought Redbox after 50% loss today. Okay, not familiar with that one. Yeah, I'm not sure what Redbox is, but wish you the best of luck there. But yeah, I mean, you still have a ton of Hexo shares, right? I think I'm at like 73,000 Hexo shares, so I just rounded up to 75. But I'm pretty much done buying. I'll only add Hexo again if we drop to 15 cents USD. I have about 20K shares at 71 cents, but I have 430 option calls for January 2024. Most are 50-cent calls, then $1. Calls were cheaper than the shares, fingers crossed. Yeah, not a bad strategy as well, right? If we know that we could potentially be entering a multi-year bull market. I know what a roller coaster. Tilray needs to hold 380 US to stay bullish. From what I can see, if we break 380, bears will be attacking. Yeah, definitely give them some fuel, right? Let's just take a quick look here. So I'll bring up what I think is the most important. So for me, it's the weekly uptrend. So we have the low, high, higher low, and higher high. So in my opinion, 317. 317 needs to hold, right? Because we could even pull back from current levels, from the current price, we could pull back 22% and just be looking for a weekly higher low. And nothing goes straight up in a straight line forever, right? So, and we usually see that stairs. It's even better to form the support as we go up, right? Because that way, if we don't form support and we just see a huge move, then it's likely going to be a waterfall back down, right? So you usually see that where you move, a little bit slower on the way up and then a waterfall down, right? If we have no support. So if we just do this and then go straight up and don't really have any support, then we're probably going to waterfall back down to support. But if we do this, stair step, establish higher lows on the way up, that's even better, right? That's what I'd be looking at. A weekly candle close over EMA 12 will be huge. And we could start to see an EMA 12 and 26 bull cross line up here into the course of the next month, in my opinion. Month or two on Tilray. And again, the more names I start to see those EMA bull crosses, the better, right? CGC is not even getting over EMA 12 yet. So again, Tilray standing out a lot more stronger in that regard, right? It's already over EMA 12 and it's confirming it as support at the moment. CGC still has to even test it and will still be resistance, right? And we haven't confirmed a weekly uptrend yet on CGC. Anything under 386 is a weekly lower high. But we have a ton of room now that when we do top out on this bounce, we'll have a lot of room to form a higher low and then a higher high. And generally, when we're this beaten down, this is when we start to see FOMO really start to pick up. And you can see CGC coming out of heavily weekly oversold. But need to break 386 to negate the weekly downtrend. And then we need to form a higher low and higher high to confirm a weekly uptrend. Then we zoom out to the monthly, and then we need the monthly bounce to top out higher low, higher high, confirmed new potential multi-year bull market. I don't have enough Hexo shares yet. My goal is to have at least 50K. I have 25K so far. Yeah, well, that's the great thing about prices being down. We can just slowly accumulate, right? That's why it's called crash, retrace, accumulation, right? And then breakout, right? We need to have those things, accumulation and distribution. We need to have bull markets, have bear markets. We need to have, some people need to have losses for some people to have gains, right? There's no way around it. It's the way it works. But like I said, the great thing about a 98% pullback in a brutal, aggressive bear market means that we usually see the tides turn and then see a similar type of move on the way up in a massive move, right? Hard and fast move to the upside. So that's the great thing about being down 98%. This, long into a bear market, it's likely just a matter of time before we're around the corner into a new bull market. I want that last buying opportunity, absolutely. And we could even see another, if SPY were to pull back any significant amount, MJ still isn't that well set up for to cushion, to have a soft landing, right? We could even see another potentially leg down and lower low and new 52-week lows and all-time lows on some of our names, right? So we can't lose sight of that fact either. We still need to confirm weekly and monthly uptrends on a lot of our different names. We've been here. We've seen this movie before. We've changed daily uptrends tons of times. And some names even confirmed weekly uptrends, but the whole sector, HMMJ, the ETF in Canada, and MSOS, the ETF in America, didn't confirm weekly and monthly uptrends. So we need that at a bare minimum to be confident. But like I said, as long as we have realistic expectations, we're prepared for all scenarios. Also, taking a short position on the S&P 500 as a hedge might not be a bad play as well. I would consider SPXS or just a regular short position on SPY if it's going to be a longer term hold. Just shy 5K. Tilray shares need to make an even 5K. Yeah, you bet. People are funny like that. They like to get the nice round numbers. Yeah, I think I'm close to 3,000 Tilray shares. My plan is in my short-term account when Hexo really starts to move. Hexo is like the majority of my MJ portfolio. I think it's like 50% of my MJ portfolio. So once Hexo really starts to move, then I'll look to take profit in my shorter term. I'm not going to sell my long-term MJ or Hexo until U.S. legalization hype and run up. But in my short-term account, if we see Hexo really start to move, get back up to around that $2.50, that'll be my first take profit area. And then I'll probably take out my initial investment. And then at $5, I'll probably sell a second tranche in my short-term account, and then maybe look to disperse that into other MJ like Tilray. But I do think that Hexo is extremely undervalued compared to peers, right? Any thoughts on MedMen? Yeah, I think that could be a nice play. I actually just added some. I might even add one or two more times. But essentially, I think I have like $1,000 into that one at the moment. I may look to get up to around $2,000 or $3,000 Canadian invested in that total. But yeah, if we go back to all-time highs on MedMen, or Tilray acquires them because they already own their convertible notes upon federal U.S. legalization, that could be a monster move, right? If news breaks that Tilray's buying MedMen, it's probably going to shoot up 100% minimum, like maybe 200%. So yeah, I'm big on MedMen. But good eye. Thanks for going public today. Yeah, you're welcome. Like I said, I was feeling a little under the weather today, and started to feel better. And I know a lot of people in the PAL Group community. There's a lot of questions going on in there, and I didn't do any private live streams, so I wanted to come on and two birds with one stone. Normally I go live 30 minutes before the open every day, Monday to Friday, and then 30 minutes before the close, Monday to Friday, for private PAL Group members. You think now we are in a bull run or not yet? No, I think we still need to confirm weekly and monthly uptrends on HMMJ and MSOS, and then we can be in a new bull market. So we've got at least a few months, I'd say 3 or 4 months at least, bare minimum, before we confirm monthly uptrends. And that's if we confirm monthly uptrends, right? It could be a lot longer than that. But minimum, we would need 3 or 4 months, right, to get the monthly bounce, right? We can't confirm a monthly uptrend with a higher low and a higher high unless we have a few candles to do it on, right? Can't do it all in one candle, right? Because we need that just wouldn't make any sense. So we're starting the monthly bounce. Once we top out, say we do it next month, and then we come down, form a higher low the next month, then another one. So we would need at least 3 more candles, maybe 4. But I would say in the next 3 to 6 months, we're gonna have our answer whether or not this is a new bull market. I'm leaning 80% this is going to be a new bull market, and 20% another leg down. But it's looking real good. Some of these MJ names I cannot find on Robinhood. Yeah, and that's another catalyst and growth aspect, right? Once all these names are on Robinhood, once MJ's back in the front page of CNBC and BNN and CNN, all these mainstream media, and like easily accessible, right? That's when we're really going to start to see things take off. I'm going to diversify out a bit too, largely invested and did a lot of averaging down and only starting to buy in the $8 Canadian. Yeah, so we can all learn, right? We all maybe entered a little too soon. And definitely, if nothing else, this bear market over the last 18 months, and really since Canada legalized, is teaching us all that patience is a virtue, right? Largely invested in Tilray. Yep. So yeah, definitely good to diversify. That's great that you're aware of that, right? And even diversify outside of MJ as well. Like I said, you can hedge with a short position on the S&P 500. You could buy multiple different MJ stocks if you don't have enough exposure, if you think you don't have enough exposure to MJ. And then you can buy ETFs as well, which track a basket of them. And if you're unsure which ones to buy, you can buy, a couple percent of each one. I think TrueLeave is around 10% or 12% in that MJ ETF, MSOS. Close to 10%, if not 10%. Do Hexo shares convert in Tilray before Hexo reach 15 bucks? Thanks, Rod. We don't know yet. It's hard to say. There's no guarantee that Tilray will merge with Hexo. There's a good chance, but there's no guarantee. We'll just have to wait and see. All right, like I said, we got over a couple dozen people here, and going to wrap up the stream here now. Trying to kept this one pretty short today, so it's just over 40 minutes. Thanks again, everybody, for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth and joining the live stream today. If you could, smash the like if you think I deserved it today, and share the video with anybody that might find value. And we'll see you again more than likely tomorrow after market close, but I'll definitely be getting a video out tomorrow. Hope you have a great night. It's Rod with Pal Group. Once again, thanks again for joining us on the Pursuit of Wealth, and we'll see you in the next video.